Hey Al, it's Donald Gustav, and I just saw the premiere of Empire with Terrence Howard. Could also call it Save Terrence Howard's career night. That's my little joke from the Iron Man thing, how he was rather unceremoniously removed from Iron Man's franchise and replaced by Don Cheadle. Now, what to go a little background there, Terrence Howard was actually the number one paid actor on the original Iron Man, even more so than Robert Downey Jr. Why the reason for his removal was never quite clear, and even Robert Downey Jr. was surprised by it. But they're not the shot callers; they're the actors, so this happens. So this whole thing is another television show that has essentially been recast in Shakespeare. Except this show tells you what the story basically is. It's a warring household for control. Even the term King Lear was used in Shakespeare to reference this. Uh, what is going on in the whole film? There's a lot of spoilers here for the film. Is that you have Terrence Howard, who runs a huge corporation that he originally owned, but now has been corporate. Now it's going public. Now it's going to make a ton of money, with him sitting at the top with 10%. Now, personally, I never quite understood why, if you were CEO, why would you, or previous owner of the company, why would you give up anything over 51% or 50.5% to anyone? I've actually learned recently that most of these former owners don't own the companies. They only own maybe 20-30%. They're just the majority of the stockholders, so they have majority of the vote and control. When you own 50.5% of the stock, that's when you can circumvent the board. But the boards have rights too. So the CEO cannot be completely abusive with his power on that. But in this case, he's reflecting on his life, and he admitted he sold drugs to eat and to make music and to survive. And it also shows his three sons. One son, his youngest, is trying to be this hip hop artist. His second to youngest, who's gay, is trying to be an artist too. But the oldest son got his stuff together, went to college, and it wants to take over the company. Now, the whole thing starts off with which you find out later on that Terrence Howard has ALS, or it's like an autoimmune, I'm sorry, AIS, which is autoimmune system disorder, which is pretty terminal and there's no cure. But here's the thing. With the autoimmune, so he knows he's going to die. So he knows that he needs to groom a successor to keep the family going and everything. However, he has three sons, and he's facing this choice. And he tells his sons that one of you is going to be groomed to take this over. Now, this is essentially holding a piece of meat above with three other here. And the term empire is appropriately named because if you want to look at ancient England, or not really ancient, medieval England or other royal families, the king would often say, you know what, I'm not going to live forever and I have no confidence in you. So one of you three I'm going to pick. And the rest will be happy. And then this also led to wars between brothers over who was going to be on the throne. And I mean, granted, at that era and the time, it was very different. I mean, the lifestyle between the king versus not the king was very different. You want to talk about the income gap? Imagine the income gap of the 1% and the 99% times 1,000. That was the difference. It was very big. So what happens now to throw the monkey in the wrench is that his now ex-wife or original founder. Oh, sorry. On the original founder of the company, on the came back and she's out of jail and she wants her cut. And Terrence said, "I can't give you that cut because it doesn't exist anymore because the company's public. I can pay you a high salary. I can do all this for you. And here, and you know, and ironically, that a lot of people in the company know each other, their family, their friends, and these are people high up, and even his friend from 14 years old. Now, here's the thing. The character knows he's going to die. Terrence Howard's character knows he's going to die. He hasn't really told this to anyone yet. Except maybe it goes you, man, wake up. And what's going on? I'm probably yawning because honestly, I thought the thing was boring. Boring, predictable. It wasn't that interesting. To me. But not to mention the constant singing and the constant singing. It's just, it wasn't even stupid drunk singing. It was like trying to be all serious. It was annoying. But here's the thing. Here's the important lesson: is what you see in this pilot is you're seeing the three sons starting to gear for war, to grab for that brass ring that their father put out there to say, "I'm going to sever." The educated one has figured out a way to get the other two sons out of the picture. The oldest son, and that by getting them to war with each other, okay, and literally going to destroy each other. That the one son who's gay wants to come out as gay and wants to do all these things, and just be kind of him, while the other wants this whole image of girls and everything. And what's happening here is they're looking at each other now, like going, "I'm going to watch. We're going against each other." Now, here's the thing. Now, in the world of business, when you put competition, especially your own people, against each other, two things can happen. It can completely blow up in your face, or absolute genius could come from it on that. But at the end of the day, who's managing the genius? Terrence Howard, or whoever he's going to pick. The problem is these two younger sons are looking at the short term, and the older son is looking at the longer term. And here, now here's this. Between all this about this girl, their mother getting out of jail, and her wanting her share, a friend comes to Terrence Howard, 14 years old, came up to him and told him, "I need $3 million," and said, "You forgot me." And Terrence Howard said, "I wouldn't give you 3 nickels." And what happened is with this guy is eventually Terrence Howard then meets up with this guy, Chubby or something here, and said, "We've been friends for 14 years, and I've never put anything between us except a bullet." And then boom, shoots him dead. Okay. Now, as friends, you don't hustle your friends like that. You screw with them. You tease them a little bit. You're like, "Oh man, I got here." You screw, but when the chips are down, you got to be kind of firm in some of these situations. And I'm looking at this situation going, this is kind of predictable, because he went to Terrence Howard's own house and threatened to do violence over getting $3 million. The sad part about this whole thing, now here's the thing. This is typical Shakespeare. This is typical, get the families warring against each other. Whoever is left standing at the end will be the winner, but the winner would then have to kill the head himself to assume power. Very typical. Here's the problem with this whole series, but it's also the same reason why it's going to be eaten up all over America, probably. Okay. One, they're overplaying the whole sane, romantic, thug life, thing big time. But it'll be eaten up. Second, the time slot. The time slot's right after American Idol. At least this time it was. So, with the singing goes along. So, on a marketing standpoint, it makes absolute genius. You're going to have singing, put it on American Idol, and then you put a few crazy guys. Third, they are over pushing the whole sex thing about the son wants to come out. I mean, this was blatant. And with others who have believed that, they're going to eat that up too and watch it too. But they're also going to have old gangsters, and they're going to get like old Terrence Howard, old gangsters from the 90s and stuff, watching to what Terrence Howard's to pass. And watch this woman who, she's kind of funny. There's a lot of crap talking in this thing, but it's predictable. It was almost predictable. It was like predictable to boring. And then on top of that, the oldest educated brother, other brothers, I mean, on that, he's married a white woman. And they're giving him crap about that. Well, he busted his ass in the storyline. Well, wait a minute. What other movie did we see with this? Annie, with Jamie Foxx and that British actress. You see the pattern here? See what's going on? This is what what the pushing is on that. That's another thing. That's why everyone is going to eat this up. That's why here it's trying to attempt to cross racial lines, sexual orientation lines, but also show pride, prejudice, warring families, conniving, evil empire. They call it empire, like emperor, as Terrence Howard goes. So, and honestly, with Terrence Howard killing his friend, that doesn't surprise me, because the friend tried to hold him up for money. And that doesn't surprise me at all. And here's the thing to think about. Now, I've seen here's. Now, unfortunately, Sons of Anarchy ended. And I don't got any TV shows right now, so I thought I'd give this a shot. What I saw was basically they ripped off the end of the Shield. They ripped off the pilot of the Shield, where in the pilot of the Shield, Michael Chiklis's character killed the undercover cop that was setting the team up to essentially sell them out to internal affairs. And this same murder went on for that whole 7-year run. It always kept coming back up until the truth in the series finally came out of what happened to that cop. Okay? But I'll tell you, at the time, it was not expected. Because I remember seeing that. I was just, what the heck happened? And it was like, and even newspapers raved about it. Said it was the best ending, the most shocking ending they have seen in television history. And this was 14 years. Jesus, that been that long? Yeah. This is 14 years if you include 7 years of Sons of Anarchy, because Sons of Anarchy started right after The Shield. Which is another, which then, ironically, the Michael Chiklis appeared at the end of the Sons of Anarchy as Vic Mackey. All right. So basically, the 7 years in The Shield on that, and then the Sons of Anarchy. So basically, it was 14 years ago. Now, Sons of Anarchy ended. Here's this, and it's the same thing where the guy was being held up or being betrayed by people he trusted, and he killed them. Boy, that's original, fellas. Couldn't think of anything better, or you're just counting on a different age demographic, I guess. But anyway, that's about it. I think they're pushing a lot of envelopes in this, but it's also just a marketing scam because they timed it right in the slot it's in. Overall, I don't know if it's going to be a success, but we'll see. This is Dinosaur. Check it out, though. Empire.